Hi everyone, Herman here. This is a daily business update video where I share what I worked on today in our business, the problems that I was trying to solve, and any lessons that I learned. Let's dive in. So today it is Friday, March 7th, 2025. End of the week is here. I have a couple of wins that I want to share with you. Actually, quite a few wins. I felt productive this week, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit and later on in the video. Let's start with what I was working on today. So yesterday I shared that I completed these pages. These are the pages that I am going to be using to advertise our live Studio Hub demo call. It's essentially a webinar where I am going to be promoting a free 30-day trial to Studio Hub to have my team build a select few people a system. So get them to build a Studio Hub account for them to help them attract new students, their ideal clients, to help them follow up with those leads that they generate. Normally our clients, when they come to us, they're struggling with the fact that they're not generating enough leads. So their students numbers have been plateaued for a long time. They may be also generating leads. So that's the opposite case. They're generating leads, but they're struggling following up with those leads. The people are falling through the cracks and they need help. They might be like overwhelmed, busy, not having enough time to follow up with the leads. And so they have people falling through the cracks. And so they need both. They need to generate leads and they need to follow up with those leads. That's like the recipe if they want to grow. So that's what people come to us for. And normally what we do is, we set up a Studio Hub, and Studio Hub helps them launch advertising campaigns to target their ideal clients. It helps them automate the lead follow-up. It helps them automate so that when somebody inquires, it immediately greets them. If they stop responding, it follows up with them. If for whatever reason they end up they stop responding so they don't fall through the cracks, Studio Hub is going to follow up with them. And if they're interested in doing trial classes, like our clients offer trial classes because they're usually, dance studios, swim schools, gymnastics schools, music schools. So they're offering free trials for their classes. And so they want to get those people to come in who say that they're interested, but unless you have a system to remind those people, you need to do that manually yourselves. And usually our clients are too busy to do that. So that usually ends up put on the back burner or it falls through the cracks. So anyway, Studio Hub can help you automate all these things. And so right now, I feel like our strongest value proposition at the moment is the fact that we can help build this system for our clients. We have a large team. Right now, we're 14 people. And we have a good amount of people in our team who knows how to build all of these things, who knows how to train our clients. We have a client success department. We have a tech support department. And these are teams that can help our clients, and we hold them by the hand. So anyway, we are using this webinar to promote that, you could see here on the webinar page. I want to, do you want to grow your student numbers and have automation do your lead follow-up so that you don't have to? If yes, I want to offer to have our team work with you one-on-one for free for 30 days to build you a system that can help you attract and enroll more students without you having to do all the work. So that's the offer, okay? And I built out all of these pages, and what happens is that when people click this button right here, a form is going to come up and it's going to ask them to fill out some questions like, what is your name? What is your business name? What kind of business do you run? Where are your student numbers right now? Where do you want to get to? What goals do you have? Can you grow? Are you willing and able to spend money on advertising? Once people fill that out, so that's what they're going to fill in order to save their spot. So they're going to save their spot. I then need to remind them to show up for this call. So this is going to be a live call. You can see here Monday, March 17th. I don't know if I'm going to change it or not, but right now this is the date. And I want to remind people to show up because again, it's kind of like our clients. We don't want to have people register for this and never remind them again. And I definitely don't want to have to manually remind everybody who signs up. So I'm going to build here some automations to follow up with people, to remind them to show up for the call, which is what I am going to talk to you about today. So I built some automation so that when somebody submits the form that captures that information from the people who are interested in signing up and registering for the live call, then the automation, it's going to send them reminders, right? It's going to send them a confirmation message right away. It's going to send them a confirmation text message. So I am going to be using a combination of emails plus text messages. I'm going to send them a text. You could see them here. So I have them pulled open. You could see an immediate confirmation email. Then there is an email that gets sent 24 hours before, 15 hours before, 4 hours before, 1 hour before, 5 to 10 minutes before. So this is really going to follow up with people to get them to show up for this call. That's important. You don't want to leave that to chance. So, this was suggested here by like all of these emails here were suggested with the exception of one, which I came up by, like this one I came up with. The idea for that I came up with by myself, but to add that to this follow-up. So, but this is a sequence. This follow-up sequence is one that was suggested by Russell Brunson, the marketer / teacher who wrote the book Expert Secrets. And he talks about live webinars and how to get people to show up to them. So this is his sequence. And today I had to, yesterday I said, all I need to do is just create this follow-up automation and I'm going to be ready. I didn't anticipate how much work it was going to actually take to write all of these emails out, to put them into the automation, right? Because obviously it isn't just about building the automation. The confirmation email 24 hours before, I need to say something. And what was I going to say? So anyway, I created here, you could see them here on the page. These are all emails that I wrote today. So, you could see them here. So this is what I wrote today. Like, here's what we'll cover on that call. Here's an exclusive offer. Here's 24 hours before. And okay, so I actually didn't write these. What I did is I wrote the prompt for ChatGPT to write them, for AI to write them, and then I tweaked them. That's what I did. Thank God for AI. If I had to have written this emails one by one, it would have taken me probably 3, 4, 5 times the amount of time to complete these. So you can see here, my favorite one is this one. It's called How We Added 10K in Revenue to Our Dance Studio, which is how we came up with this idea for our business. So in 2019, my wife and I opened up a dance studio. It was a dream come true. We loved dancing, we loved teaching, and we were excited to build a community around something that we were passionate about, but there was a problem. We didn't know how to get students consistently. That's all true. Some months were good, other months, this is something that I changed. Not so good. Okay, so we relied on word of mouth, but we weren't growing as fast as we needed. So we started looking for answers. And then I tell the story about how we came up with this idea of Studio Hub, the company that we run now. And the prompt that I wrote for this was awesome. Let me just show it to you here a second. You see here how it says, Roel, you're a direct response marketing expert. You're the best at email marketing. You write in simple language that is easier to understand. You only use words that a 5th grader can understand. Goal. Help me write a confirmation email that's to send to people 15 hours before the night before the Studio Hub live demo call. Use this story that I tell you to get excited people to show up. And so then I tell the story here. But before that, let me show you how I even came up with a prompt for this story, because this story I had written, but in bullet points. I hadn't detailed it completely out, but ChatGPT helped me. Let me show you. Okay, so here's how I had written the story. So our company story, I said, in 2019, my wife and I opened up a dance studio. We shared our passion for dancing with others, but we didn't know how to attract students consistently. So we joined business mastermind programs and learned how to generate leads through ads, blah, 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 right? So I go through this entire story, but just kind of like in bullet points. And then I said to ChatGPT right here, you're an expert storyteller. You're an expert marketer. You're an expert at the Epiphany Bridge script by Russell Brunson. So that is a story script, which, by the way, if you don't know what a script, like a story framework is, I have a video in this YouTube channel that says like how to tell better stories. Or I think there's one that talks about how to become a communication wizard. And I share in there some storytelling principles, some storytelling frameworks. One of them is the Epiphany Bridge script. This one is used for teaching. The point of the Epiphany Bridge script is that you tell a story that has a kind of like the moral of the story is whatever you want it to be. So like you tell a story with the whole purpose of selling an idea, of convincing somebody of an idea. But the way it's made is that you don't convince people to have to like about this idea, what you do is you tell the story, and the story gets the people to convince themselves about the idea that you're saying. So like, for example, if I want to convince somebody that they need to advertise, that they need to have automation, I'll tell them our story and say like, so back in 2019, we used to own this dance studio. We didn't know how to attract students. We joined this mastermind programs to figure out how to advertise, how to run our business. We learned how to advertise. So we started generating leads. The problem was that now we were generating leads, but they were falling through the cracks. And then from there, once I implemented the automation, so many months later, I discovered, so after a lot of trial and error with different softwares and our coaches helping us, we found what worked for us. So, and I created this software, these automations that were working for us. And that was super powerful, because once we implemented these automations, our business, within 3 months, we added an additional $10,000 in revenue. Right. So if I tell that story, people listening are going to be like, wow, like, how can I have advertising and automation in my business? Right. So that idea is like that, through that story, you get somebody to have an epiphany, which is that they also need to advertise and to have automation. Like, you could use this for anything. Like, if you're trying to tell somebody, let's say, for example, I listened to one of the podcasts that I listened to. His name is Andrew Huberman. He has this podcast about how to optimize your life, your rest. In that podcast, he talks about building muscle. He talks about biohacking. He talks about many different things, the cognitive functions of the brain. Anyway, in there, for me, I've always struggled waking up early. And one of the tips that he shared in that podcast is that if the first thing you do when you get up is you go out and you see the sun, it resets your circadian rhythm. And I didn't believe it at first, but I tried it, and it started to work. Every morning I go outside, I look at the sun, and little by little I felt more tired faster, sooner in the night. So then it just, like, my body naturally started to adjust. Now, when I say that story, you're going to have the epiphany and think to yourself like, oh, maybe I should start looking at the sun outside. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's called an epiphany bridge script. So I said to ChatGPT, you're a master at this epiphany bridge script, because I wanted to tell the story, like, I wanted to tell our company story in a way that convinces people that they also need help with automation and advertising. I want them to know that that's what they need, right? And so anyway, I told ChatGPT that. I also said, you're also an expert at using quote unquote but so storytelling, as the writers of South Park explain, and then you write using simple words that a fifth grader can easily understand. By the way, if you don't know what the but so storytelling, again, that's in the video. I think it's like how to become a communication wizard. I published a video on this. But so storytelling, it's kind of like this. Imagine I tell you a story that goes like, okay, imagine the story. I ate lunch, then I felt tired, then I took a nap, right? So it's kind of like, that's a pretty weak story. Instead, you use the but so storytelling. So that sounds like this. I ate lunch and I wanted to go back to work, so now you're using, but I felt tired, so I took a nap, right? So I ate lunch and wanted to go back to work, but I felt tired, so I went back to work. Instead of telling the story like this, I ate lunch and wanted to go back to work, then I felt tired, and then I took a nap. Like that, like this happened, then this happened, then this happened. That's a boring story. Instead, it's like this happened, but this other thing happened, so this other thing happened. That is how you tell better stories. So anyway, ChatGPT figured out exactly what I wanted to say, and so with this prompt is really good. So I'm surprised how good it came out with the story. So yeah, that was my favorite email that ChatGPT came up with based on the prompt that I gave it. Good prompt. I'm definitely going to use it again. So yeah, that's what I worked on today. I got here how many emails? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 emails written today within a few hours. And then I took those emails, I added them into Studio Hub, I created this automation. I also wrote here, so not all of these are emails, some of these are text. I had to write, so all of these have AI prompts, as you could see here. So all of these have AI prompts. So I wrote 10 prompts and then ChatGPT came up with its version and then I tweaked it. Yeah, that's what I worked on today for the most part. So I got all of that done. The only thing left to go live right now, to go live with this webinar, is just that I need to record the ads and launch them. Boom. So I think I'm on track to launch this weekend for sure. Okay, so I have one win. I'm going to talk about the wins and then I'm going to talk about one lesson that I learned today. It's been a recurring lesson. So the wins for the week, I brainstormed how to do this free trial offer. Well, eventually landed on a free trial offer this week to promote that through advertising. Then I figured out how to do that, like which marketing funnel I was going to need to use to promote this live call, this quote unquote webinar. I created the copy for it. I figured out what I am going to say on the ads. I figured out what I'm going to say in each of the pages, which took me a while because I didn't know like what was going to be the headline. How was it going to get people to be interested in joining this call? I figured out the pages. I created the pages. I now wrote all of the emails that go into it. I created the video script and filmed the video. So I got a lot of this project done this week. So I'm super excited about that. I feel like the reason why I was able to focus so deeply is because of I barely use social media. And I think for the past 3 days, maybe 4 days, I don't know when I started talking about it, but I haven't used social media. And that's like such a hack, even though it's so silly to think of it as a hack because it's like obvious that you just should not use social media, but it's so tough because I think the problem is like where if you have the place where you work right next to the place where you quote unquote play, which is like get distracted, I should call it like that, like the place where you work right next to the place you get distracted, you end up doing both because you end up building a habit in the same device. So like if you have your phone and that's where you do some of your work, but that's also where you get distracted by looking at videos and social media, then it's so easy to fall into that trap. So I've managed to avoid it this entire week couple of days. And I feel like it's been life-changing. Like I've been able to focus. And that's something that I want to, if I could live my life with only 3% of social media, that'd be a great life. I say 3 because obviously you need it a little bit for like talking to friends or just business, but in general, like I just want to stay away from it completely. Another win was our team worked on this project together to create the client results statistics that I spoke about. I think it was yesterday, where we now know with certainty what our average client gets working with us in the first 90 days, in the first year. And that was eye-opening. We are helping clients generate a lot of money from our services, which is awesome. And then the lesson that I have, the last thing that I want to speak about is this lesson that I was made more like, it's clicking even more every day. And this is nothing new that I haven't spoken about. I've spoken about this already. But if you see here on my screen, like for the past couple of days, this column right here measures the amount of deep work hours that I've had per day. Deep work hours are like you sit down and you're able to focus and you're able to work on. So I'm able to work on these creative projects, like writing 10 AI prompts to write those emails out, which if you're distracted, it's very tough to do. So to me, I have to like get focused and be able to crank that out. So I was able to, you see here, 4 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours. And this is more than 4 hours. I just like rounded out 4 hours. But anyway, that is because of, not having social media. But the other thing too, what I was going to say, the lesson is that because I am measuring this as a KPI every day, as I'm tracking my number of deep work hours daily, like to me, this is success. The more hours I have, the more successful I feel. And to me, I'm obviously feeling productive and I'm getting a lot done, but this is something paradoxically is happening here. Like for me, instead of measuring my work by the amount of output that I have, which is how I used to do it. Like, I used to sit down and think, okay, I'm going to get all of these things done. And if I didn't get it done, I would think to myself, I'm like, man, I didn't make that much progress today. Like, I didn't advance a lot today. Instead, I am thinking, instead of output, I'm measuring my progress. I'm measuring how successful I was by the amount of hours of deep work that I was able to get in. And so sometimes when I am doing work, the way it would happen to me before is that I would sit down and I would start just trying to crank out work as fast as possible. So if I need to type an email, like how fast can I type this and how quickly can I get this done? And I would be in a rush, in a hurry to complete this task because it's like, okay, I just want to knock stuff out. Like I want to crank work out. And if ideas weren't coming to me quickly, if things felt like, if I lacked clarity and I didn't know how to write an email because I just didn't know where I wanted to take it, to me, like that felt frustrating, and that struggle, it just felt frustrating because it felt like I was trying to get work done and I was measuring my success by, can I get this work done or not? And when I wasn't being able to get the work done because I just didn't have clarity, I wasn't able to move the project forward. That usually happens to me when I don't know what I want to say exactly. I don't have clarity and it's tough. So that felt very frustrating to me. And then on top of that, like if I had work to do where I knew what I wanted to get done, so I did have clarity, I try to get it done as quickly as possible. And in my mind, as long as I can check the box and say, this is done, that to me was a successful completion of work, even if the work itself wasn't, in the highest quality standard. Like even if it wasn't as great as I could have made it, because in my mind, I was like, getting work done is good. I would complete it 80% of the way and just be like, okay, this is good enough. Like it's done. I feel good about it and I felt productive. And there's something to be said about like, done is better than perfect. Totally fine. But like that to me, putting that amount of pressure on myself every time I go to work to say like, okay, I got to crank this out, get it done, do it as fast as possible. It just felt like sometimes when I would sit down, I'm like, I don't know where this is going. This is frustrating. I don't want to do this. And then I would end up procrastinating. Instead now, because I am measuring hours of deep work as my success metric, when I am doing work, sometimes to me, it bothers me. Like if I'm writing an email, for example, and I'm like, okay, I need to grab this link from somewhere else because that that link is somewhere else. It used to bother me not like wanting to go get that link because it would prolong the work and and then I wasn't getting it done as quickly as possible. So it felt like I was delaying completion. Whereas now, because I'm not counting completion, instead I'm measuring deep work hours, I go and I'm writing and I'm not in a hurry to write all that fast. I'm thinking more about things. If I need to go grab the link, I'll go grab it, even if it slows down the work. And I'm thinking to myself, because I'm counting deep work hours, I'm trying to work slowly so that I can take up more time doing the task. But paradoxically, I'm actually working a lot faster trying to work slower than I was trying to work faster. So by me slowing down, somehow that is helping me produce more work. Like I'm actually getting more work done than when I was just measuring getting things done. And I'm getting them done with better quality as well. So anyway, that is the lesson. I don't know why that, well, I mean, instead of measuring getting things done or not, I'm measuring the amount of productive deep work hours that I have. It doesn't mean that I'm prolonging the work needlessly. No, I'm actually just taking the time. What I imagine is like when you see a farmer and they're planting seeds and they're going around the field and they're touching the plants and they're like feeling the earth. That amount of care for your work, that amount of, diligence, care, intentionality, just focus. It isn't just getting work done for the sake of like completing it, but rather like this is like something that you're doing. You're engaging with work and you're focused on it and you're letting the work kind of consume you, where it's in a way where it's not like getting it done so that you can get it done and move on to the next thing. But no, you're just like in the work. There's something really powerful there. And I'm able to see that more now that I'm measuring hours of deep work. So that is the lesson. Anyway, that is it for this video. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed it, leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.